Om
Om Asmadgurubhyo Namaha. Om Namah Paramarishibhyo Namah Paramarishibhyaha. Om Namah Paramarishibhyo Paramarishibhyaha. Om Purnamidam Purnamadaha Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Ishavashyamidugam sarvam Yatkincha jagatyam jagat Tena tyaktena bhunjithaha Magruthah kasya svidhanam. Om Kasyapamvaya sanjatam Narayana padashritam Srimannarayanam vande Yatishvara Shriyajusham Krishnam Kamalapatraksham Punyashravana Kirtanam Vasudevam Jagadyonim Naumi Narayanam Harim Krishnaya Yadavendraya Gnanamudraya Yogine Nathaya Rukminishaya Namo Vedanta Vedine Shri Krishna Parabrahmane Namaha. Om Asmadgurubhyo Namaha.
Jai Srimanarayana.
Jai Srimanarayana.
Last week, which slokas we studied?
41, sir.
41 and 42, right?
42, yeah.
41 and 42. Okay, we'll chant.
Yeah, I can go ahead, sir.
Sure, yeah, please.
Moksha Sannyasa Yoga, Sloka 41. Brahmana Kshatriya Visam Sudranam cha parantapa Karmani pravibhaktani Swabhava prabhavair gunaihi. Jai Srimanarayana, chapter 18, sloka 41 summary. Lord Krishna said, O Arjuna, duties of the Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaisyas, and of Sudras are distinctly assigned in accordance with the Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas qualities arising from their inherent nature. Jai Srimanarayana.
Jai Srimanarayana. Any questions on this? No?
So, Prasad garu, in the sloka, 4th chapter, Chaturvarnyam Maya Srishtam. So, there Bhagavan has provided us guidance that he has created Manush, Tiryak, Stavara. And here he is directly actually relating it to the caste system that prevailed probably in India before.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the nature, Brahmin, the nature itself is universal.
Yeah.
It's just that the terminology was probably more prevalent here. So, because some explanations, even Chaturvarnya Maya system, they correlated it to the caste system.
Right. Yeah, that is. So, again, our learned acharyas, our gurus, have interpreted the Chaturvarnyam in the previous chapter, the 4th chapter, as Deva, Manusya, Tiryak, Sthavaras.
Yeah.
Okay. So where he's saying, I created everything, right? And that was the context. So if it is just the Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Sudras, then who is creating all the animals, birds, insects, trees, and mountains, everything else, right? All the planets. So God, Paramatma is creating everything in this universe. So those are divided into 4 varnas, 4 categories. Varna is, unfortunately, we treat varna as caste, caste or creed. Varna is category. Okay. Categorization. You created into 4 kind of categories. There are 4 categories, which is Deva, Manushya, Tiryak, Sthavara. Deva are those at a higher level of existence, right? In dimensions, right? Manushya at one level of existence. Animals, birds are another level of existence, and sthavaras like mountains, trees, that kind of they are another level of existence, right? I mean, you can easily see, nobody will say a human is equivalent to any bird or animal, right? I mean, that would be an insult if somebody tries to compare. Are you acting like a a buffalo? Then people, it's called as a scolding thing, right? Or insulting thing. So the levels of existence, so Deva are higher level of existence with higher powers. They are not God. Devatas are not God. Unfortunately, again, there is a misconception that there's Manushas and then there is gods, right? Referring to Devatas, all Devatas as gods, which is incorrect. Unfortunately, that came up in the interpretations, problems with interpretations, with their lack of knowledge, or their their intention to misrepresent, so that they can show these people are not educated, or their knowledge is not good. So when somebody from outside comes and says, I want to rule you, but your knowledge is great, then he cannot say that, right? I mean, so someone has to look down on people, then he has to say that your knowledge is not correct. You are doing something wrong. This is not the right knowledge. Then if people start believing, then you will start agreeing to, okay, you are the master, we are slaves, right? So we don't know what happened, why it came up, all that, but fundamentally Devatas are not God. Devatas are at a higher level of existence with higher functions, capabilities than what we can think of as humans. Humans are higher compared to animals, birds. They are higher compared to just a rock that is existing. There's nothing. Are you a rock? As people say, right? So those are the 4 levels of creation. Now, each level of creation also, again, as we become more and more sattvic, our karmas are getting cleaned up, we may go to a higher state. If we are rajasic or tamasic and we are acquiring more karmic bondage, we'll go downwards, like we will go to animals, birds, and then to stavaras. So that is the progression. So there's nothing like it is what we create for ourselves, those levels, right? God is giving us this knowledge and the option to choose. Are we going to be sattvic, rajasic, or tamasic? And then sattvic, rajasic, tamasic is not like black and white. There's a lot of gray in between, right? So one cannot be completely sattvic and no rajasic or tamasic at all. And one cannot be totally rajasic with no sattvic and tamasic at all. Like it is all mixed up, right? Because in Prakriti, all these 3 qualities are mixed up and we are impacted by these 3 three qualities of Prakriti every second of our life. So because our body is made up of material from Prakriti, so it also has sattvic, rajasic, and tamasic qualities because we are made of nature. So we will be impacted by them. So it is a choice that we have to make with the knowledge that we have, that I want to be sattvic. I want to practice sattvic qualities, develop sattvic qualities, or I want to be rajasic because I like it. I want to enjoy this life from the body point of view. And then tamasic, I just want to be lazy and just sleep and enjoy, or be take some drugs or drink or whatever, and then that gives me enjoyment. So that will be, or I don't want to follow scriptures at all. I don't want to follow any rules at all. That is tamasic. I want to follow the scriptures and rules, but for my own benefit, is rajasic, and I want to follow the rules and scriptures as service to God, is sattvic. So this is a choice we need to make. And so those are the four varnas from the point of view of a creation. Now here, Lord Krishna is not talking about creation. He's talking about the duties that are given to humankind, right? Not about devatas or birds and animals or stavaras. Specifically talking to humankind. Okay. So in that, when he is referring to humankind, like the previous slokas, he started talking about the three categories of work, worker, knowledge, and dhriti, that is determination, intellect, buddhi. So he started talking about all those things. Those are applicable for us humans. Okay. So in that, and then finally happiness. Happiness is also has three categories. So now he's saying that talking about the work of a human, that is assigned, the duties are assigned to the people, humankind, in this manner, based on the qualities. So in accordance with the qualities, okay, that are arising from their inherent nature. So this is in this context, it is directly related to humans. So now he's categorizing. One is completely sattvic, one category. Another one is predominantly rajasic. Completely sattvic in the sense that it doesn't mean that they don't have rajasic or tamasic, but they're sattvic dominant. I should correct myself. Sattvic dominant is Brahmin categorization. Rajasic dominance is Kshatriya Kshatriya categorization. Rajasic less and slightly more tamasic is Vaisya categorization, and Sudra is tamasic categorization. So these category broad categories he made. It's not like only people in India are like Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaisya, Sudras. Like every human anywhere in the world can be categorized into these four categories. Fortunately, in India, they were following these traditions, this culture. So people knew as soon as they take birth, people knew what is the, what is that they need to do. It is almost like, I know I want to paint. Okay, I like to paint, and I'm already given without me even knowing that I like to paint, I start getting coaching in painting. I start becoming an expert in painting, and then I will start working in painting. How easy! It's going to be so easy, right? If we have that kind of a thing. Today, whatever problems we are facing is, we don't know what we need to do with our life. That is a major problem that we have. So we kind of lost that that culture. That's why Arjuna was saying that in the first chapter, if I kill all these people, then there will be Varna Sankrama. So then the entire society will collapse, you're saying. That is one of the reasons he said. Why he said is because of this confusion only. I mean, it's not that somebody is high, somebody is low. It is that somebody is aware of their inner qualities, and based on those inner qualities, they're working. So it is like something that they can do right away with that gives them happiness, right? Most of the times I don't want to be a doctor, but because my parents wanted me to be a doctor, so I joined. Every day that person will be hating the work, hating the people who put them in that position, right? So they have no intentions of becoming a doctor or liking the work of a doctor, but they will be they are forced to, because they saw somebody else doing something, and then okay, maybe mostly related to money or fame, so okay, my son or daughter also has to be a doctor now. Then they are forced to do that, and then they will be confused, they will be unhappy, and it leads to all kinds of stress. And some people go to extremes with that kind of a stress. So this, in order to avoid this kind of thing, this kind of a categorization was given, no other intention, right? And also nowadays we all know these colleges for everything. There are colleges for everything. Even for painting, you can go and join a college where they will teach you painting. Everybody has access to it. But or you want to become um, uh, let's say scientist, you can go and join a college and then take that particular. But in the olden days, it was not like that. There was it was all, they couldn't move from one place to another place that easily. There were no such thing like colleges, universities everywhere accessible to everyone. It is all based on family. So a set of families, they will teach their trade, their work to their own children or the people around them, uh, right, from day one. It is not like they have to wait till a certain age and then they will start teaching. It is like from early age, they are put in that position, to do whatever their family things, family duties are. So, and they would start growing up with those things. So that is how it was. And again, so it was giving them the opportunity to teach without having all this setup of schools, colleges, universities, and you have to travel so far to get the knowledge. You have to pay so much money to get the knowledge. In those days, you don't have to pay any money to get the knowledge of a farmer or a soldier or Vedic scholar or any other tradition job. So this system was working fine, but unfortunately because of all the latest developments, whatever has happened, that system is lost. Now no one knows exactly what what their duties are. And not only that, I mean, we also gave the explanation somewhere. And there's no money, there's no way they can live with that kind of a tradition, because nobody respects or values that. So then they are forced to take up other works. So in that process, they start hating the duty of a family, whatever their family, and then the tradition will be lost. So in that whole thing, this the categorization based on the families has gone, but the general categorization still holds good. Basically, Brahmins are mostly sattvic in nature, and whatever are the duties assigned to them, we'll see later. Then Kshatriyas are mostly Rajasic in inherent nature. So their duties assigned to them. Vaishyas, again, same thing. So whoever has those qualities, they can start progressing in that direction. So one great thing that will come up in the later, we'll see. I mean, how this particular knowledge is so relevant for today, and that is that's equality message, right? So we will learn that in the later slokas. So even though he's divide, it appears that Lord Krishna is saying these four categorizations, he's actually saying they are equal. I mean, this is where the great part is. I don't think anybody gets that when they just look at this. Oh, Lord Krishna mentioned these four categories, or somebody who is aware of these scriptures is saying there are four categories. They're actually the knowledge is that they are all equal, but unfortunately it's lost. I mean, because people don't want to see it that way, so that they can question the people who are saying that, so that they can question the scripture itself, so that they can question the culture itself, so that they can take down the entire culture, make everybody not get into this kind of great knowledge that exists, which will all make us slaves of a foreign knowledge, which is inferior compared to what we have.
Yeah, sir, I have a small question, sir.
Sure.
I know, I understood this is not like a caste or anything. These are categories, right? Brahmana,
Yeah.
Kshatriya, Vaishya, Sudra. So, in accordance with the qualities,
Yes.
that, for example, like, I born in a Brahmin family.
Yes.
So I'm born because of my sattvic qualities that were dominated in the past life, right?
Yes. 100%.
Okay, so yeah, 100. Okay, so there is a reason why I was born in Brahmin family.
Yes.
But after born, right? Not only me, anybody, in any categories, whoever they're born, they may not be possessing same qualities sometimes, right? Suppose if I'm not sattvic in this janma, so where is it going wrong? See, I'm here because of there is a reason why I'm here, my past qualities.
Yep.
Now after that, I'm not following certain things, means again we learned that it's because of purva janma vasanas only, right? I'm supposed to do something, I'm not. That means something, from the past. So what is that? I mean, what is missing there? Like, why am I not able to continue in that or possess same qualities even in this
Yeah, very great question.
yeah.
Okay. I mean, there is scientific evidence. I'll just show you. I mean, while again, this is all Acharya's blessings, God's blessings, right? When we truly want to seek the knowledge, He's the one who will give it to us. We don't have to try to find it ourselves. So it so happened that my daughter was in final year in Rutgers University. They are going through a course, and then she forwarded a TED talk about something called epigenetics. Okay, I'll forward that. I'll send that link. It's about 10-15 minutes. So there is a study of epigenetics. So there is genes, and there is on top of it something called epigenetics. Okay. So before going there, let me answer. I'll answer your question and then come to it. So say we are born in a Sattvic family. Okay. Now our tendency is to be Sattvic.
Yeah.
Okay. Now once we are born, we are under the influence of our parents, our society, and the nature. Correct? So it is not like we are living in isolation in this world. So we have choices to make, right? We all have choices to make. If we don't have choices to make, then all this knowledge is not needed. I mean, if we are Sattvic, we are born in Sattvic family, we are going to be Sattvic, then you don't have to learn that, oh, you will be under the influence of, these senses, and you will be going, you will be Rajasic, you will be Tamasic. If you are under the influence of your senses, right? And we don't have to learn that there is a higher goal for all of us. We don't have to learn. We will automatically be in that direction. Now, if someone who is Rajasic or Tamasic, if they are bound to be Rajasic or Tamasic no matter what, then again the knowledge is useless for them. It's like, trying to, let's say somebody doesn't have two hands and ask that person, oh, you can paint with two hands like this. I mean, there's no use for that. While the person is not going to do it anyway. So what good is that knowledge of painting when the person cannot even paint? It doesn't have hands, right? So this knowledge, what we are getting, is because we can apply this knowledge to us, because we have choices to make. We are making choices every day, and our choices are based on our influence of this entire nature, people around us, on us, right? Sometimes we take the choices. Sometimes when we are very young, we are forced to take the choices by those who are around us. Like, for example, I'm born in a particular family. I have no option about what food I can eat. Whatever my mother prepares, I have to eat, right? I mean, there's no way a boy can, a small baby can say, oh, my inner quality is sattvic, so I have to eat sattvic food. There's no way that person can say. Now, the mother or father, whoever is preparing the food, they are probably born as sattvic themselves. Let us say, I mean, we are all taking sattvic as an example, but it can apply to any quality. So, but they were under the influence of all three gunas again, right? So by the time they gave birth to the baby, right? Their inner nature has been changed. I mean, inner nature in the sense they are now under the influence of the other two gunas. So they may feed the baby Rajasic or Tamasic food, right? So if it was like, if the parents were also not shielded from the entire nature, then absolutely, like, there's 100% guarantee that the baby who is born in that family will always be with the same qualities as what they were carrying, right? Now, it's not like it is not that they will lose that characteristic completely. Okay? It is inherent nature. Now, maybe they're under the influence at a particular, for 10 years, 15, 20 years, they're Rajasic or Tamasic, but their inherent nature of Sattvic is still there with them. So when they are exposed to that, they may go in that direction. Right?
Okay.
So just like when they are exposed to Rajasic and Tamasic, and when they had no choice, they went in that Rajasic and Tamasic direction. When they are when they come to know of Sattvic, and they have a choice to make, and if they are not completely corrupted by the Rajasic or Tamasic that happened in their previous life and previous to that, they will take the Sattvic choice, right? Because that is the inherent vasana we are talking about. These vasanas and ruchis, right? So something that is inherent within us, which will come up when we are faced with the situation. So if I have Sattvic tendency and it has been under the covers, because I had no option but to follow Rajasic or Tamasic based on the environment, the people around me. But I might come up with that Sattvic when there is a choice for me. Okay. So same. I mean, why I'm born in a Sattvic family, but I'm not following that is because we are under forced influence or indirect influence of the entire nature around us after we took birth. If we were following this culture 100%, right? Imagine the ideal society where we are Sattvic and we take birth in a Sattvic family. People around us are also Sattvic. Then from day one, I'm getting fed Sattvic food, right? Isn't it? So then I will be in that direction only. But unfortunately, that's not the case right now. So we are being exposed to all kinds of natures without our intentions to participate in that, and we get influenced by that, and then we go in that direction. And of course, as a human nature, right, we are under the influence of our senses, right? Especially if how many would really have the knowledge of Atma and body, and my goal is Atma, self-realization, God realization, permanent happiness. That knowledge is not existing, right? Now, without that, and if the entire system around me is only talking about Rajasic happiness based on senses, what you get today, happiness is the one that you need to think of. You don't think of tomorrow, right? So then will be that looks easy for us. I mean, that's easy for us. So we start doing that, and we start going in the Rajasic direction. So it is hard for us to be in Sattvic and go in the Sattvic direction. Rajasic is little bit difficult, right? Where you still have to know the scriptures. You are still doing, you're following the rules, but you're only thinking of your own bodily enjoyment. You're doing that with the higher goal in mind, like serving Paramatma, that in mind. You're doing it for yourself. Then the Tamasic is the easiest. I don't have to know anything. Whatever comes to me, I'll do it. Okay.
Prasad garu, even though a person may be born like that and may have limited opportunity and so on and so forth, I think if the prarabdha karma is there, that person will find a way or a path to get back to his original nature and what he is supposed to be enjoying.
It is. I mean, that is. I mean, again, based on our understanding here, right? Like, say, Swamiji is speaking, for example. How many people will stop and listen to Sri Swamiji? YouTube, thousands of videos exist of say Swamiji talking about all these things. How many people just just skip that? But if the inherent nature is Sattvic, then they get attached to it. Not the one songs and not the other gossips that are going around. So that is when they had the choice to make. But if somebody is forcing them, saying that, hey, you should not be even doing this, right? We have no choice. Then we will be going in the direction of what our people around us say. So that's why it's, I mean, great point that Balaji mentioned, satsang, right? With that, it's like it's acting like a kind of a environment around us, okay, which will take all of us with it. Like, so it is not like I am alone in this. If I am alone in this, I'll be impacted by whatever is happening. But we are all together. Then it becomes difficult for us to go out of the path. Okay, it's like if one stick, small stick, a thin stick, you can break it. But if 10 sticks are put together, it's difficult to break, right? Even though the strength of each stick is only that, the stick is going to break. But when 10 are together, it is difficult to bend them. And so all 10 will be strong. So that way, even though all of us are like have that inferior nature of going after these senses and going towards Rajasic or Tamasic, but when we are all together, right, our tendency of sattvic nature will get strong. By itself is not strong enough, but we all together, we become overall strong sattvic. Like we support each other, and then we go in this direction.
So the person who's like kshatriyas, right? So basically he has more rajasic qualities. That's why he's born here. But after some time he becoming more sattvic means, even though it's his inherent all have three gunas, but which are dominant, that's what we exhibit, right?
Yes.
So when he slowly becoming sattvic means uh, it's becoming dominant by the because of the surroundings that he lives in. That's why, like even kshatriya is like or any other category.
Yeah.
Who is
I mean, I'm sorry to interrupt. Like one thing
Yeah.
we need to understand here is
Mhm.
that people take the short path to whatever success they want. Like it is not like they really want to be. Like Kshatriya, classic examples, like Arjuna, is a Kshatriya. But when he is faced with like the tremendous responsibility of participating in that war and killing all these people, and then he thought, oh, then he wanted to just run away from it. Okay, it's not that it was his sattvic nature. It is like he wanted to abdicate the responsibility. Okay, let's not, I mean, we should be very careful there. Like somebody doesn't want to do their work and do something else. Is it really because it is their inherent nature, or is it because they want to run away from their existing work? Okay, so we need to understand that, because Arjuna, for all practical purposes, let us say if Krishna said, okay, you go and you don't have to do these things, Arjuna would have been utter failure in the knowledge acquisition also. Okay, so it was not like his inherent quality is to be sattvic. He wanted to run away. So that is why he was saying that I want to go and beg, and I want to meditate and live on alms. So it is not that he wanted to. It was his inherent nature. If it was his inherent nature, that would have come up long back. He wouldn't be going to the war, right?
Right.
So it was not his inherent nature. He was just running away. So we have to really see: do I want to change because it is not in my inherent nature, or I simply don't want to do it? Like every day, why I have to get up like 5 o'clock in the morning and work for 12 hours, 13 hours, and not getting paid so much. I don't want to do it. So I want to change the profession, change the duty, which is not inherent characteristic, but I'm changing the duty, right? So there are, in this world, right? Because nobody's enforcing anybody that you are a Brahmin, you are a Kshatriya, you are Vaishya, or Shudra, you have to do these things. These two are happening. One is, it is my inherent nature. I'm more inclined to do this, no matter how much you pay me, no matter how much you praise me, no matter what is the result, I am going to do this one because it is inherent nature. That is one category. Another category is what is easy for me. Okay. So a Brahmin who is born as with sattvic quality realizes that there is no value, right? Nobody is respecting, nobody is giving any money. They have to basically be poor for rest of their life. So they may become Kshatriya, Vaishya, or Sudra quality. They pick up those qualities and start doing the duties of those. But they're inherently sattvic in nature, but they chose the decision. They chose the path of other, like becoming a soldier, or doing the farming or business, or doing service activities. Okay, so again, so we if let us say that they are born as sattvic, but their parents are already Kshatriya, Vaishya, Sudra type, right? This again, it's not caste. I'm talking about the type of duties that they are doing. Okay, so then they are going to pick up those characteristics only.
Right.
So I mean, let me share this epigenetics. One quick moment.
Yeah.
Do I stop sharing? How do I stop sharing and share something else? Okay. Yeah. New share. I'm going to share.
You can unshare and share if you want.
Yeah. New share. There's a, hope you can see that epigenetic.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Now we can be able to see.
So there is a video. This is like relatively new that is coming up. New technology, new scientific evidence of what we are learning now. With Bhagavad Gita knowledge, when I read this one, I can understand, I can correlate and see, oh, whatever we have been learning in Bhagavad Gita is what they are trying to find out here.
Now finding out.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. So basically what they are saying is every cell is exactly same. Like when in a very high level, like when we are as one cell, when we get divided, we become two cells, and then get divided, we get 4 cells, 8, and so we start multiplying. How is one cell becoming a muscle and another cell becoming a bone, another cell becoming part of a brain? How is that happening? And how one person is influenced by the external world? Like, for example, what they're saying is like these people are studying it from the physical aspect perspective, like how mothers behave, food habits are going to influence the baby in the womb. How parenting influences the child as soon as they're born. Okay, they have found a scientific evidence, scientific proof how that happens, and they are using that to fix problems actually. So it's just this is from CDC website, without going into all the details, right? So genetics is epigenetics is the study of how your behaviors and environment can cause changes that affect the way your genes work. See, so our environment is impacting us. So even though inherently we are something, but we are getting coded by external environment. So there's some coding that is happening on us. Okay, so imagine what we're learning in Bhagavad Gita. You are born with some inherent nature, right? But you are affected by these 3 gunas.
Right.
Okay. Epigenetics is talking from the physical aspect, bodily aspect. What we are learning is the behavioral. I mean, our likings, dislikings, our intentions. That at that level, it is. So here, unlike genetic changes, epigenetic changes are reversible and do not change your DNA sequence, but they can change how your body reads a DNA sequence. So what they're saying is that they're getting coded. And this, I'm not an expert in this, please forgive me. Say if there are some, but at a very high level, after going through a little bit, it is, so we are affected by the environment. So these, so there are some changes that are happening in our cells, right? How they behave. Okay. From a physical aspect, they're saying now that is like cancer and all those things. They are going to treat cancer because, I mean, why something becomes a cancerous cell, or why some body becomes ill, is because of these codings that happen on that parts of the body. Okay. They want to identify those codings, right? And then they want to remove them so that it becomes healthy.
Wow.
Okay. So they're talking from like when a cell becomes cancerous, then how I can make it non-cancerous. When a mother has a certain type of disease, how a child gets a disease? I mean, can we explain, like, it is there's one cell and that is getting divided, and then how is that mother's disease or mother's behavior is getting coded onto the child? Is because of this epigenetics. They're studying all these things. So I mean, what caught me here is that these are reversible. Okay. So when we are born with a certain quality, we are influenced by outside world, we can still reverse ourselves.
Yeah. I mean, some time ago, I wrote an article on this, and not epigenetics. So, I mean, I always had special interest in psychology. So basically, our life is a probability, right? If you think about it, how actually, for example, this moment we are in satsang, we are talking about a particular topic that actually has a certain impact on your overall psychology.
Yep.
So every micro moment of your life is actually deciding your future. For example, let us say after this you happen to have a bad experience or horrific experience, or let's say you have a pleasant experience. So the reason why I thought like that, right? So why crime happens, right? If you think about it, nobody by design would like to become a bad person and ruin their life. But essentially, the sum total of events that are happening in their life every minute, that is what is actually leading to that.
Right.
So yeah, exactly. And so this is where our practices are so actually they are mandatory, in my opinion. It's not a choice, right? Can somebody say, should they actually be spiritual? Should they be doing satsang? It is a very important dimension of the life. Just like we have food, water, and other essentials. Otherwise, this is the reason why when people don't realize this, they keep going, digging and digging deeper and deeper. Then they go to a point where they cannot return back mentally.
Yes.
Yeah, it's very great, Randy. And of course, as per our yoga also, they say the disease first manifests in Sukshma Sarira, and then it manifests on the physical body. So the concept, of course, prarabdha karma is always there, but the concept of in yoga also, that's why we give a lot of significance in cleaning the Sukshma Sarira as a preventive step to make sure that even if something exists, it gets cleaned up and it won't manifest into a disease on the physical part.
Yeah. So that knowledge, right? The knowledge that you're saying, Sukshma Sarira and the physical Sarira, right? Imagine that was given thousands and thousands of years ago.
Thousands of years, yes.
Yeah. Now we are saying that there is a physical cell, a gene, right, that that has a particular characteristic, but there is something that is on top of it which is controlling how the gene reads the DNA. I mean, I don't have all the exact terminology, but there is some coding that is determining how it works, how the cells work. Okay, I mean, that is, maybe we can call it as Sukshma Shari. Even the cell itself is so small,
Yes.
right? From a physical aspect. I mean, whatever they're learning, whatever we are learning today in science for physical characteristics and all that is, so they're going into a cell level, they're able to see that all these markings. If you see the video, that is very clear that there are some markings that happen on the same cell, which will make it either healthy cell or a bad cell. I mean, so these markings, if they are, let us assume they are called now Sukshma Sharira in your example, right? So that is where it is getting affected first. You fix that, then the cell is fine.
Yeah, exactly.
But when that marking is not good, then the cell is not working properly. So it leads to disease. By itself, the cell is not bad, but whatever got coded on top of it is having. So now the question is that, now if I am sattvic in nature, now I need to be put in an environment according to Bhagavad Gita, right? I need to be put in an environment which is leading me towards sattvic in nature, sattvic only. Okay, isn't it? Now,
yes,
how is that? Follow this carefully, right? Now, I can follow my sattvic nature, sattvic dominant nature, only based on epigenetics, because epigenetics are saying, what is it saying? That my external environment is going to have an impact on me, right? That's what it said. My external environment when I'm in the mother's womb, and also when I'm outside, till I become independent on my own. By the time, all the unfortunately, if I'm changed so much, then I cannot go back. But at least when I'm in the mother's womb, and also when I'm very little, when I have greater influence of the environment on me, if I have to continue sattvic, where should God put me? God has to put me in a sattvic family only, right? Isn't it? Just because a baby is being born, someone who is taking say drugs and alcohol, cigarettes and all those things will immediately leave that and then become sattvic and then start eating sattvic food. No, right? It's not going to happen. So if I am put in a family, if I have to continue in my sattvic journey towards higher levels, right, of sattvic, I need to be put in a family that is sattvic, what Lord Krishna said. Now, that is only possible only if the sattvic family has an influence on me, right? If family has no influence, he would have said, oh, you will be born in wherever, right? You don't even have to care. He said, you will be like, we will take birth where we can proceed in that journey. The reason why he's saying is that because wherever we are put in, we will be impacted by the family and surroundings. So epigenetics, again, science changes every day, every year, right? But so far what we know of, that a family can influence a baby, is what Lord Krishna was saying indirectly. What he's saying is, if I am going to place you in a sattvic environment, sattvic family, where you can continue your sattvic journey, That is because you will be influenced by that family, and because you are going to be influenced by the family and you have to go through a sattvic journey, I am going to put you in a sattvic family only, which is a scientific proof of what Lord Krishna said.
Yeah.
Right? So if it is not random, that's a important
Yes,
thing.
yes.
Now for us it looks like random, because unfortunately we are all so much impacted by the and we are not following this culture of our following our duties based on sattva, rajas and tamas, right? Anybody who is doing any type of job just because they want money, okay, so then it's all gone. We don't even know what our inherent nature is, okay. To a little extent, whatever it is, still we are it is still not random. We are placed in a family where we continue our journey.
So,
Okay.
I mean, yeah, I mean, it's true that apple doesn't fall far away from the tree, right? And especially kids growing here, even though they move apart a little bit in the teenage years, just to they're trying to identify with everything here, right? So I don't know, you know, my first son was given the thread ceremony in India in a way. We do it in a very different, special, not different, just like everybody else. But it's a huge thing for us, because after that they go to Gurukula, and that's how they did, right? Until my grandparents, it was like that. They used to go far away and sit with Guru and everything. But after that, things changed, right? And then my first son never had this in his mind, but now I heard he's in Stanford undergrad. He's been talking about our Sanatana Dharma, and then there's many classes too, right? There's a lot of professors are interested in Vedanta, and they do all those things in Stanford. So he's been, I heard that he's been actively participating in all those things. And also I did hear about him writing an article about Gayatri mantra, right? Although they don't sit and do, we always tell them, even when you're showering, you have to take, say, you can say that, right? Because they don't have that opportunity. So they keep doing, although they don't acknowledge, but I know my second son is doing, but my son, in front of us, he's not so much, but outside. That's what I keep thinking. Apples won't fall far away from the tree. At some point, they'll return back to the roots, but again, we'll see how it goes.
So that is like based on the experience, people say, right? So what Lord Krishna said in Bhagavad Gita, matching with what you are saying, and also, I mean, to the on a given day, maybe like 5 years, 10 years ago, probably you would have felt, why is this happening, right? But inherently, they have the coding in them that what Lord Krishna said is what is happening. I mean, if they are influenced by the external world so much, then unfortunately, I mean, we cannot control that. But definitely, there is inherent nature that is carried with us, and it is just a matter of we getting exposed to that environment, but we'll hook onto it. I mean, it comes kind of natural to us, right? Like somebody has to be forced, somebody has to be natural, and whoever has that inherent nature, for them it appears seamless, natural for them to go in that direction.
Right, but Bhakta Prahlada, it's a little bit contradictory, right? Hiranyakashipu was a master of all Rakshasas, right? So Prahlada, from his babyhood, he didn't want to eat meat. He didn't want to do any conduct any activities, right? Where Rakshasas do. So it's
very valid question. I also immediately I thought about, okay, then what about Bhakta Prahlada? That is an exception. One way of answering it. There could be other answers. It's an exception that Hiranyakashipu has to be killed, right? So it is an exception there that he, Prahlada is the one who takes birth and does all these things. there are exceptions, like Paramatma's, with Paramatma's blessings, somebody takes birth, they are blessed souls. It is not like, they had their karmic bondage completely removed, and then they took birth like that. Paramatma has his own ways of placing some people in certain places. Bhagavad Ramanuja. So there are blessed souls, okay, who are coming down with a particular purpose. Okay, so those people are put in those places for a particular purpose by Paramatma. Okay. That is one way of answering it. Another way is it is not Hiranyakashipu was having any influence in his early life. It is his mother, Prahlada's mother, who was in Narada's ashram. So that is another answer for it, right? So Prahlada. So one way of saying, oh, Prahlada is not great, but just because he was in the ashram and his early age, so he became like that. We may not be able to say that, but because he is a blessed soul. So that is, but even this answer also works, right? Like Hiranyakashipu was not the one who was teaching Prahlada every day. He didn't have any influence. By the time he had an influence, he already found out that Prahlada is Sattvic, right? So, so then he could not change, even though he tried to. I mean, for most of us, like somebody who is Rajasic or Tamasi, we can't change that person. Hiranyakashipu was trying to change Prahlada from Sattvic to Rajasic. That became difficult because Prahlada was a blessed soul. Very good question. Thank you so much. Okay, so we understood that these categories are existing for the sake of assigning duties, right? So these are not to say one is higher, other one is lower. This is like a journey. This for 3 or 4 slokas, if we go through one after the other, then it will answer so many questions that people are raising about this recently. And especially because of Statue of Equality coming up, people don't understand why someone who is and people treat Sri Swamiji as Brahmin, and Bhagavad Ramanuja as a Brahmin, saying Statue of Equality, for them it didn't like merge together. I mean, they don't match, because everybody, they thought, oh, these Brahmins exist to suppress us. These Brahmins only they're there to say that they are the highest. Everybody should fall on their feet. That is what their role is. That is a kind of concept that everybody got it. Even the Brahmin also thinks the same way normally, thinking that they are higher and these people are lower. And of course, in Bhagavad Ramanuja's time, that was the case, that the society was not accepting the lower caste to be entered into a temple. So
a lot of times I'm not blaming them. It's quite natural, but they speak without actually knowledge.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
Swamiji is anything other than that. I mean, anybody, Swamiji, you go, if you want to take mantra from Swamiji, nobody asks you, hey, what did you do in the last 10 years? Which caste were you? Were you doing this? Were you eating that? This? No questions asked.
Exactly. Yes. And when somebody is entering the temple, no questions are asked, even today. In those days, 1,000 years ago, they were not allowed. Some categories of people are not allowed into temple. Bhagavad Ramanuja, who knows the scriptures in and out, found out that the real knowledge does not say that we have to exclude these people from entering this temple. So he went against the society and made sure that everybody is treated equally.
And 1,000 years ago, it's not even today. We can only imagine how hard it was probably It was a battle for him to do that.
Yeah, people were willing to punish him and kill him and all that. So in spite of all the threat to his life, in spite of, I mean, saying is easy, but moving such an entire society to accept it is, I mean, even making one family accept is a big problem. Making entire society accept the change is the biggest problem. So he moved the entire society, because that is not how the scriptures say. The scriptures say something, and everybody, because of lack of knowledge, ignorance, because of ignorance, they say all these things. And today also people are saying these things. But we will go through, when we go through this, we'll understand really what is what our scriptures say. What did Lord Krishna say about these four varnas, four categories of people? Go to the next one. Now we are taking more time.
Go ahead,
hopefully,
sir.
yeah. We'll try to finish 3-4 slokas. Okay, sloka 42. Who will chant?
I can
Sure.
chant.
Yeah, please.
Moksha Sannyasa Yoga, Sloka 42. Jai Shri Mannarayana. Samo Dama Stapas Saucham Kshantir Arjava Mevacha Jnanam Vijnanam Mastikyam Brahmam Karma Swabhavajam.
Vijnanam Astikyam.
Astikyam. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Jai Shri Mannarayana, chapter 18, sloka 42 summary. Lord Krishna said, control of the external sense organs, restraint of the mind, austerity, purity, forgiveness, uprightness, knowledge of Atma, knowledge of distinctive and unique attributes of the Supreme Lord, firm conviction are the practices of Brahmana that are born from inherent nature. Jai Shri Mannarayana.
Okay. Any questions on this? Now, so if someone says, oh, I am born in a Brahmana family, but I don't have any of these qualities. Okay. Right. So how do we explain that?
Yeah, he has other gunas dominating, like.
Right.
Yes. Other than.
He had this inherent nature.
Hmm.
However, chose not to follow this.
Yeah.
Okay. For any reason, for various reasons, they are impacted by the external world. They're forced or they chose to. So how are they impacted by external world? Because their parents who are born in a Brahmana family, but they are impacted by the external world. I mean, when I say Brahmana, so imagine say Sattvic, right? Sattvic dominant person. Let's take, there's a category of people where they are Sattvic dominant. Okay. Now they are Sattvic dominant. If they are truly following whatever duties that they have to follow based on their inherent nature, then the inherent nature I mean, their nature is not changing. It will grow in that direction only. But if they choose not to do it, because they have a choice to make, if they choose not to do it, then their inherent, they will create an environment for their children which is not conducive to support this inherent nature of the children. So they will go in a tangential direction. Okay, in a different direction, and then totally in a different direction if they after 10, 15 generations. They don't even know what they belong to, who they belong to. Right?
Mm. Yeah.
So now if I am sattvic today, irrespective of my I have sattvic dominant quality, irrespective of whether I belong to one of these categories, right? As per the as per scriptures, as per Lord Krishna said, as per the scientific evidence also, if I want to continue the journey of sattvic in my next life, if I get a next life, I need to take birth in a sattvic family only, wherever they are, whatever category they belong to. I mean, so this, and again, I don't want to generalize saying that we don't have these categories at all. They do exist and we should value them because it is going to help us. But if they are not existing, like say, for example, in America, we don't have this kind of people knowing, oh, I belong to this category, right? So they will be taking birth in a sattvic dominant family, because as per scientific proof also, their parents and environment are going to influence me. So if I want to be sattvic, that is the reason why I'm developing the sattvic quality. If that sattvic quality ends right now, whatever I'm doing, and my next life is going to be totally different from what I'm doing right now, then there's no meaning of learning all these things, right? I know the Lord Krishna said, you follow karma yoga practices, you will start your next life from where you left, right? So that you will move in the right direction. If every life is going to be independent, then Lord Krishna will not be able to say that. That's another reason why we when we take birth in a family, we are going to take birth in a place where we will get an opportunity to develop our whatever guna that we have. It's a different fact that after we are born, either parents change, environment changes, or we change. That is again we cannot control. I mean, that is not what Lord Krishna is saying, right? I mean, Lord Krishna is saying that you will be influenced by the other gunas. You will be influenced by the environment. So we need to be watchful. But when you are taking birth at that moment, it is not that Lord Krishna or Paramatma is making a mistake of placing a sattvic, dominant soul, Atma, in a Rajasic or Tamasic womb. So these are the qualities and these are the practices of a Brahmana. So they should, with a little effort, because I'm saying little effort because they have to come out of the influence of the other two gunas still. But this is their inherent nature, so they will be able to practice this with ease compared to the other, if they take birth in a other category, right? Because they would have been already influenced before they even know that, before they have their own self-awareness. They would have been influenced by Rajasic and Tamasic qualities, so their inherent nature will be pressed down and the other qualities will dominate. Okay, so but if those are not there, if the Rajasic and Tamasic are not there, then it becomes natural for them to follow these things, which are not easy. So these are absolutely not easy at all. Somebody gives a job of okay, I want you to do all these things from now onwards. I don't think anybody would apply. But those for those people who are following these things, there is no value. Okay. Because nobody pays, nobody pays for these things. Okay. We covered only 40 up to 42, right? Okay. Now let's look at 43. Okay, 25 minutes. We'll start with the prayer. Om Asmat Gurubhyo Namaha. Krishno Rakshatu no Jagatraya Guruhu. Krishnam Namasyamyaham. Krishne Namarasetravo Vinihataha. Krishnaya Tasmai Namaha. Krishna Deva Samuthitam Jagadidam. Krishnasya Dasosmyaham. Krishne Tisthati Sarvametadakhilam. He Krishna Samrakshamam. Jai Srimanarayana. So we'll start Sloka 43. Sauryam Tejo Dhrutirdakshyam.
Sauryam Tejo Dhrutirdakshyam.
Yuddhe Chapya Palayanam.
Yuddhe Chapya Palayanam.
Danamishvara Bhavascha.
Dhanamishvara Bhavascha.
Kshatram Karma Swabhavajam.
Kshatram Karma Swabhavajam.
Let's chant together.
Sauryam Tejo
Dhrutirdakshyam.
Yuddhe Chapya Palayanam. Dhanamishvara Bhavascha. Kshatram Karma Swabhavajam.
In the previous sloka, we learned about the practices of a Brahmana based on their inherent nature, inherent characteristics. Okay, so inherent qualities. So these are the practices. So they practice Samaha, Damaha, Tapaha, Saucham, Shantihi, Arjavam. So these are all the things they are practicing. Now, Lord Krishna is explaining about the practices of a Kshatriya that are born or arising from their inherent nature. Okay, Kshatram Karma Swabhavajam. What are all the characteristics? Practices, karmas. Here are practices of a Kshatriya category of people. Okay, not a caste. So, Sauryam. Okay, Sauryam is the capacity to enter combat without fear. Bravery, valor, heroism. We all understand that. So this is the characteristic of a Kshatriya. Tejaha, they have capacity to overcome enemies. Invincible, right? They are invincible. Dhrutihi is capacity to complete a task despite obstacles or difficulties. So here we need to understand that Dhrutihi is, like we learned that Dhrutihi is of three types. The determination, Sattva, Rajas and Tamas, right? So these people, their practices are, you can clearly see their practices where they are determined to complete a task. Okay, you got what I'm saying? So when we are saying that determination has three types, Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. Okay, but the determination itself, like for somebody who is very lazy person, we can clearly say that they don't have determination to complete a task, right? They'll say, yeah, whatever, we'll see whatever happens. So, and they don't care about when some failure occurs, when they're not able to complete a task, when something is not working properly. They really don't care. I mean, whenever, as soon as they face some difficulty, they'll say, okay, I will change. I will. But Kshatriya is not like that. Kshatriya has that inherent nature of dhruti. Based on that, they act. So they practice it. They practice that inherent nature of finishing a task. Okay. So one thing is, we need to understand that every person needs sattvic, rajasic, and tamasic qualities. Okay. But where it has to, where we need what, where, when, that is what we need to understand. So dhruti by itself is not bad quality. Everybody should have. One who is learning Vedas, they have to wake up early morning, take bath with cold water, let us say, sit outside and start chanting. It's not easy. So they need to have dhruti, the determination to complete a task in spite of difficulties. Okay. But the dhruti with which they do it, let us say sattvic dhruti is when they are determined to complete a task based on the Atma knowledge, right? So the dhruti with which rajasic or tamasic person, the practices is different. Okay. I mean, just wanted to, without going into all the details. So dhruti, so they have the dhruti, they have dakshyam. Dakshyam is having skill to do any work. Okay. They're very skillful. I mean, just Arjuna, if you just start looking at this as Arjuna, right, you will you'll understand how much, how close Arjuna is to these qualities, right? Yuddhe apalayanam. So not running away from the battlefield, even when their death is certain. Okay. This is something that was missing for a moment for Arjuna at the beginning of the Kurukshetra war, for a moment only. I mean, that is also because our acharyas have given us the inner meanings, right? So Lord Krishna wanted to give the message to the world, and no better disciple than Arjuna to give the message to, and he provided the opportunity for Arjuna to ask, and that's when it happened. So it's not like Arjuna is the reason why Bhagavad Gita came up. It is because Paramatma who blessed Arjuna with the Bhagavad Gita message after providing the opportunity for him to ask. Okay, so they do not retreat from the battlefield at any cost. Danam, donating own property. So Danam is another quality of a Kshatriya. And Ishvara Bhavaha. So it's a leadership quality. So they are natural leaders. They want to take up positions where they can rule over others. So they are rulers, administrators, leaders. They have the capacity to punish bad and reward good people. So all kings, yeah. So a Kshatriya is eligible to become a king because they possess all this inherent nature, which will enable them to rule the kingdom in a dharmic way. Okay, if a king is king is not having this Ishvara Bhavaha, right? So then they will not be able to do justice at all. King is not having Dhanam nature. So everything they want for themselves only. Okay. They will not be able to protect anybody. They don't have any skill to do anything in the kingdom. Then if they do not have the determination to complete the task, nothing, ruling a country or a state is not so easy, not easy, right? It's filled with all difficulties. So they need to have the determination to complete. They should be able to. It's not that people will not have enemies. Enemies will be there. There are people who want to bring down. So they have to win over them. If they don't, then the entire kingdom will be gone. And then Sauryam. So they should be able to again protect the country. Now, it may so happen that if somebody who is born Kshatriya feels that it is their right to become a king, even though they do not want to practice all these, that is where the problem comes. Again, practicing this is not easy, right? So they may choose not to practice these things, but they want to be a king. That's when the problem comes. Problem is not having Kshatriya categorization at all. The problem is someone who wants to take advantage of a Kshatriya category to rule over others just because they belong to that category. Lord Krishna is saying that, not that. What Lord Krishna is saying is Kshatriya is the one who practices this. If somebody is not practicing this, they cannot call themselves as Kshatriya itself, right? So this is the definition of a Kshatriya. Now, is it that someone who is born, like to Arjuna, Abhimanyu is born. Now, Abhimanyu naturally had these qualities, right? So, so it is not like to Arjuna, one who wants to run away and then do the meditation is born. We see that this is natural progression, like it is coming from one family to one generation to another generation. However, in between there will be a Duryodhana, okay, or some king who is who is influenced by the bad in the society around them, and then they still want to, if there is a rule that only Kshatriyas have to rule the country, then they will want to take advantage of it. But it is not the problem of the categorization of these qualities. It is problem of people who don't want to follow their duties. Okay, so this defines the practices of a Kshatriya. If they're not, then they cannot call themselves as Kshatriya anymore. Okay. Any questions on that? Okay, we'll move on to sloka 44. Krushi Goraksha Vanijyam.
Krushi Goraksha Vanijyam.
Vaisyam Karma Swabhavajam.
Vaishyam Karma Swabhavajam.
Paricharyatmakam Karma.
Paricharyatmakam Karma.
Sudrasyapi Swabhavajam.
Shudrasyapi Swabhavajam.
Let's chant together.
Krushi Goraksha Vanijyam. Vaishyam Karma Swabhavajam. Paricharyatmakam Karma. Shudrasyapi Swabhavajam.
So Sudrasya api Swabhavajam. So karma Sudrasya api swabhava. So the practices of Sudra that are born from their swabhava, means their inherent nature. What are all the characteristics? And also Vaisyam Karma Swabhavajam. So what are all the practices of Vaisya born from their inherent nature? Lord Krishna is explaining. So for Vaisya category of people, what are all the practices? Krushi is agriculture. Goraksha is protection of cattle. And Vanijyam is a trading, buying, selling goods. So basically anything related to money, earning money, distribution of money. So that is, those are the practices of a Vaishya. Someone who is very lazy with money, they cannot call themselves as Vaishya. I mean, they're not possessing the basic practice of a Vaishya. Why? Because they choose not to do it. I mean, if they had known that it is their duty to do it, but they did not do it, is one category of people. Other category of people is like when the families are not practicing any of these categorizations. So it appears random for us, but there is definitely in the society, these four categories always exist. Okay, so those are the three characteristics or three practices of a Vaishya. And and then Paricharyatmakam. So there is only one for Sudra, that is service to all. Paricharya. So they provide service to everyone. Service to those who are doing the, this agriculture or protection of cattle or trading, I mean business. They provide services to the rulers, those administrators, all those who are providing these characteristics. And then they provide services to the people who are practicing these qualities, or these who are practicing these based on their inherent nature, that is Brahmanas. So Sudras are simplest of all. They just have to provide service. Okay. There's not much duty for them actually.
But serving others, it sounds very noble, right, sir?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is exactly the thing that we need to see. All of us are actually probably doing this one right now.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
We are not possessing any of, I mean, I should say, not possessing, practicing any of these practices. Okay. And Lord Krishna mentioned what are the duties of a Brahmana who is having these practices. Okay. No, they're not doing any of those, or maybe one or two, but not total. None of these, obviously. I mean, if some bad is happening in the society, are we going and fighting? We are happy. Okay, as long as it doesn't impact us, we are fine.
Yeah.
And then are we doing in the business and all? We are in the form of running businesses, running big large farms, right? Farms or anything. We're not doing any such thing. Then what are we doing?
Yeah.
So unfortunately, I mean, somehow it's again this misconception, misunderstanding of all these varnas. People are choosing to do something different. Now let me I think in next lokas what happens, So these categories are existing of categories of people, their practices based on their inherent nature. Now Lord Krishna is going to talk about, I wish we could complete at least two slokas maybe, if it is okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's great. So we need to check ourselves. I mean, where are we on this chart? Sloka 45. Swe swe karmanyabhiratah
Swe
स्वे कर्मण्यभिरतः
samsiddhim labhate naraha
संसिद्धिं लभते नरः
swakarmanirata siddhim
स्वकर्मनिरतः सिद्धिं
yadha vindati tachrunu.
यथा विन्दति तच्छृणु
Let's chant together. Swe
स्वे
swe
स्वे कर्मण्यभिरतः संसिद्धिं लभते नरः स्वकर्मनिरतः सिद्धिं यथा विन्दति तच्छृणु.
Okay. So what Lord Krishna is saying is, Swe swe karmani abhirataha samsiddhim labhate naraha. So, so naraha, person, right? Any person. Swe swe karmani abhirataha, who shows interest in one's own karma. Swe swe, their own. In Telugu they call it tana tana. Okay, so their own karma. Okay, so their own duty, who shows abhirataha, they're showing interest. Okay, samsiddhim labhate, they obtain perfection. Okay, samsiddhim, siddhi, perfection. If you see it in from a just the duty part itself. Okay, duty, once who is interested in their duty, they will become perfect in it. But that's not the meaning here. Meaning is, whoever is doing their own, they show interest and they do their duty, they obtain liberation. Some siddhi. Siddhi is liberation. Paramapada, they obtain the state of liberation. Okay, this is very, very key point. To obtain liberation, you don't have to go and do somebody else's duty. Lord Krishna is saying, Swe Swe Karmani Abhirataha Samsiddhim Labhate Naraha. That's it. Whatever you do your own duty with interest, you will get perfection. You will get the liberation. Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying Swadharma. Yeah.
Yeah. So we have to do that activity with our interest. Okay. No matter whatever it is. Okay. Just the duty that is prescribed to us, if we do it, we get liberation. It is not like, oh, I'm doing the service activity. Now I should go and do the Vedas. Then only I get liberation. No. We're not. We don't have to. If you try to do that, then we land in problem, because we may not have the inherent nature to support the duty. Got what I'm saying? So if I like I don't have the inherent nature to do the operation on a body, right? And to work with the sick people and do the operations and see blood and to open the bodies, just like that. Can I become a doctor? Just because a doctor is making a lot of money and then has a lot of value in the society, if I try to do that, then I'll become utter failure. Okay, from a materialistic, looking at a materialistic point of view. So what Lord Krishna is saying is that you don't have to do that. Do whatever you're supposed to. Enough. Unfortunately, this point is missed by a lot of people. Okay, so let us look at today we'll probably conclude here, but this is the message of equality, actually. Why is it a message of equality? We'll see that. So what Lord Krishna is saying is Swakarma Nirataha, one who is performing their duty, okay, their own prescribed duty, Swakarma, their own prescribed duty, Siddhim Vindati, attains perfection. Okay, they'll attain liberation. Okay, so listen how that happens. So Srunu Tat Srunu. Okay, listen to that. How that one who is performing their own duty attains perfection. So he's going to talk about that in the next slokas, but because we are out of time, we'll just quickly go through. Lord Krishna, after explaining about these 4 varnas, okay, did not say, I like one class over other, right? What did he say? You just do your duty. Anyone, any person who does their own duty will get liberation. Okay, isn't it? So there's no discrimination of classes. There's no high upper class and lower class at all. Every class is equal. Supreme Lord loves everyone in all classes equally. Okay. Okay, then Lord Krishna did not say, I like the practices of one class over the practices of others. Did he say that? No. So he said, do your practice. Whatever it is, you will get liberation. So there's no higher practice, lower practice. Everyone is equally eligible for Paramapada. Because he's saying, Naraha. Okay, Swaya Swaya Karmani. He didn't say, Brahmana Naraha Labate Siddhim. He didn't say that. Okay. Everyone equally eligible for Paramapada. Liberation from this samsara, the cycle of forced birth, right? Then Lord Krishna did not say Brahmanas get liberation quicker than Kshatriyas and so on. He didn't say, right? Isn't it? He says whoever is doing their duty, how they need to do the duty is what is going to mention. That is going to be the next one. But he didn't say that one class will get liberation faster than the other class. He didn't say one class will never get it at all. If that was the case, he wouldn't have said this sloka, right? This is what Bhagavad Ramanuja promoted thoroughly. And of course, Sri Swamiji is promoting that same knowledge, the right knowledge in the society. But we do not have to blame ourselves for taking birth in a particular class, thinking that we have no chance for liberation. Right? There's no such thing. Unfortunately, this is what happens. We do not have to take birth in another class, or we have to convert to another class to be loved by God. Taking birth in a Brahmin class does not mean automatic liberation, whatever we do. Taking birth in a Sudra class does not mean they cannot get liberation no matter whatever we do. Right? This is explicitly saying these things so that people may, if anyone has any misunderstandings, they will clearly understand. Of course, all this is embedded in one statement that Lord Krishna made. We do not have to change religion so that we can start acting like, so people say, oh, okay, I need to be a Brahmin to become liberated. And you're not, I need to do this puja activities. I need to do the homam in order to become liberated. And you're not allowing me to do that. You're not allowing me to be a priest. So I need to find another religion where I can become priest. And then I will become eligible for liberation. And then some religion will come up and say, everybody can be a priest, and they'll start, you will get liberation fast. Okay. That is an unfortunate thing that people are, cheated like that. So we do not have to change religion, or we do not have to believe in another God. If somebody else says, oh, your God is not, doing all these things, there is another God, another religion where you can become, just by changing your religion, you'll go to upper class. Or you'll become, everybody is equal. Lord Krishna is saying everybody is equal here. What is the need for finding another religion where everyone is equal? So we do not have to change religion. This is a big problem in the society. We may not be able to realize here, but it is happening. People are cheated left and right, saying that your religion does not allow you to become, liberated. So come to us, you will get heaven. But we actually, the Sanatana Dharma, this is not religion. Sanatana Dharma says whatever you are doing, you continue to do. No matter what you are doing, you will get exactly the same liberation as anybody else. We are always eligible for liberation as we currently are. Right? These classes are just it's like a job that we are doing. Okay? Where we have a skill or an inherent ability to do something, we are placed in that position. We need to do that job. Now, I don't want to do the job, I want to do somebody else's job, then all problems will start. Okay? Will not be successful at all, actually. Everyone who performs their duty in each class has equal opportunity to get liberation. Okay? Everyone, because he's saying who shows interest. Okay? And how one gets, that's how part is going to talk about later. So how one who is engaged in his duty attains perfection, he's going to say. Again, when he talks about how, he does not differentiate between the classes or categories. It's same rule applies to every class or category. Everyone who shows interest in their own duty and practices them in a particular way makes them eligible for liberation. I put a word particular way because he's going to talk about, Lord Krishna is going to say how part of it. Not just that I do my duty, I'll get liberation. We have to do our duty, but how we need to do the duty, we need to know so that we'll become eligible for liberation. Just doing the duty is not sufficient. The statement here is that you do your duty. You don't have to change your duty. You will become eligible for liberation. But no matter which duty you are doing, you have to know how you need to do it so that you will become eligible for liberation. Okay. This is the, this is the equality. All duties are equal. So duty of a priest is equal to duty of a soldier. It is equal to duty of a farmer. It is equal to duty of a ruler. It is equal to duty of a serviceman. All duties get the same result if they are done in a particular way. That how part, right? Lord Krishna is saying, you do your duty well, whatever it is. I am going to treat you equal to anyone else whoever is doing their duty well. So if we are, if let us say 3 people are from 3 different classes, each person is doing their own duty exactly how Lord Krishna is saying, right? Their own duty means like somebody is a farmer, somebody is a businessman, somebody is a providing service, somebody is a priest, somebody is a ruler. So they are doing different duty, but the duty that is that they are assigned to. But when they all do those duties, different duties in a particular way, then all of them are equally eligible for liberation, right? So then this is if I can take 5 more minutes. So if all are equal in the eyes of God, and all duties are equal in the eyes of God, if all duties are equal and no duty is greater compared to another, then the question comes, why can't I do any duty? I want to do my own duty, right? I will decide, I want to become a businessman, I want to become this, I want to become that, I want to become a priest. There is, if people don't allow me to do what I want, then they're discriminating me. So the scripture says something like, okay, your inherent characteristic is this, you have to do this. When you are becoming a Kshatriya, you need to possess these qualities that support that Kshatriya duty. I don't want to care about that. I want to just do the duty. Okay, that is incorrect, because we will not be successful there. Principle equality does not mean anyone can do any job arbitrarily. Okay, duties are assigned based on their inherent nature. So if we are lacking that inherent nature, right? If I don't have this inherent nature and I want to do the duty of a Kshatriya, then just because Kshatriya is considered to be a higher class than what I am right now, I'm going to be a failure. Okay. If I do not have the practices of if I am not practicing these practices of a Brahmana, but I want to become I want to follow the duties of a Brahmana, like a priest or teaching Vedas and things like that. If I don't have these inherent characteristics, then I will not get the benefit of doing that job at all. Even though I'm thinking that Brahmana class is a higher class and doing the duty of a Brahmana is going to give me moksha. It is not going to give me moksha unless I have these practices. So people now don't know these practices. They don't care about these practices. They want to do any job they want. Then just because most of the times it is only pay that matters. But if people are spiritual in nature, upper class means I'm going to get the moksha sooner, so let me become upper class. Or unfortunately, I'm born in a lower class, so I don't have the ability to get liberated. All this is misconception. Lord Krishna never said all this. Everyone is equal in the eyes of God. We do our duties properly. The proper word is he's going to explain. Whatever is the duty, we are all eligible to be liberated.
So inherently, one may not have certain qualities of any category, but by practicing that category qualities, they can do that. Or is it?
Yeah, they can.
Okay.
See, this is where the difficult part.
Mm.
It is very easy to say than to like I don't have the painting skills or singing skills. Then is it possible? Yeah, can I become a painter or a singer? Yes, but will I be really becoming a painter or a singer? No, right?
No.
It becomes pain after some time. We may go to a certain level, but we cannot go beyond that. So there is some inherent nature characteristic, like somebody who is inherently outgoing in nature. Okay, and then suddenly they're put in a like you have to stay indoors and then practice all these things sitting in a corner. Can't do it beyond a point, right? So yeah, if they can go beyond that and they're able to do it, then absolutely, no doubt they can do it. I mean, it's not that they, that's why, I mean, the inherent nature practices are more important than just the name on the paper, right? But just looking at the name on the paper and then I want to do that job without considering the inherent nature characteristics, then it will be a failure. There's no use of doing that. I mean, we can do it. I mean, so I can become a soldier and I can go to the border and stand there. Okay, yeah. I mean, till the war comes, it is fine. But as soon as the war comes, then I'll be in trouble.
Yeah.
Right?
Unless keep up this, yeah.
If I don't have the inherent nature and the practices of a soldier, of like keeping the body, always strong and agile and all that. I mean, if I don't have those practices, then how can I be successful in whatever I'm doing?
Yeah, true.
And not being successful here in this life, and also we will not be successful in reaching our liberated state as well. Right? So based on whatever inherent nature we have, we do our duties. Those duties we have to do thoroughly. Doesn't matter what those duties are. Lower than others, low pay, high pay, low respect, high respect, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So if we just because it is paying more, I try to do something. If I don't have the inherent characteristics, then I will become a failure, and I'll be becoming a failure in terms of getting liberation as well, because I cannot do the duty properly.
Yeah.
So this is the equality principle, equality of duties. So it is not that everyone is equal, in the sense that everybody can do any duty they want, right? The duty that we need to do is based on our inherent nature and the practices. If we possess that, we can do any duty we want that matches that, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, it makes sense, right? If I'm applying for a job, I need to apply for something that I'm interested in, and then I'm having the skills, means I can practice, right? Have practices that support my job. If I don't have that, then they're not going to accept, right? They'll do the interview and ask those questions and then say, I have no, and I'm not eligible, right? If I don't have the practices that support that duty, right? So same here, but all are equal eligible for doing any job on the outside, but we need to have that inherent duty. And in our scriptures, this is how the categorization was there, because it made sense for us to have those categories, and so that people can do their duties. Now, Sri Swamiji has given a great example, right? So we are all part of this. We are all, imagine this entire universe is a body. Okay, our body. So our body has different parts. Okay, all parts are equally important, right? Hands, legs, every part is equally important. But are they really equal? really equal in the sense hand can do the job of a leg and leg can do the job of a mouth?
Mm.
No, right?
Yeah, then they are not. Yeah.
So we are all part of this entire universe. We have duties assigned to us based on our inherent nature characteristics and the practices that we have. Okay. We do those, we follow those duties, right? We perform those duties, right? There is a how part we will know, but we all perform those duties. Then we are equally eligible to reach Paramatma. Like if every part of the body is doing its job well, they are all equally eligible to be healthy, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is not like a hand is doing its job, leg is not doing its job properly, then hand will also be unhealthy. It is not like, oh, only hands are eligible to be healthy. Like no matter what the leg does, leg will never be healthy. It's not like that, right? Everybody is doing every part of the body is doing its job. They are all equally eligible to be healthy from a body perspective. They're all part of one body. And Bhagavad Ramanuja's principle, like the entire universe is the body of Paramatma. We're all different parts of his body. So we are equally eligible to become, liberated. Okay, all of us are equally eligible. We need to perform the duties that we have, which are specific to us. We have to do our swadharma. Okay, just because somebody else is doing something else, then we try to do it, it will be a failure for us. And Lord Krishna is saying that you do your duties properly. Now properly doesn't mean that getting the result. That is, we'll learn what is properly, but you do it, do our duties well, no matter what we are doing. Okay. Hand is doing its job, leg is doing its job, nose is doing its job. All are totally different, but the entire body is going to be healthy. The entire body is equally eligible to become healthy.
Yeah, this is a great example, sir. I think if one should understand this way, like we are all parts of, the Bhagavan's body.
Yes. Sri Swamiji gave this example in last couple of days. I mean, it was slightly in a different context, but I just use this example here.
Yeah, at least people don't start thinking like high or lower, caste or anything. I think this, one should understand this.
Right, and that is the reason why Lord Krishna, Bhagavad Ramanuja said everyone is equally eligible to be liberated. Everyone is equally eligible to get the mantra, okay, which will lead them to liberation. Okay, so they need to be given the knowledge, right? They need to be told what they need to do. So everybody should get that knowledge. They're equally eligible. They're all are parts of the body. But unfortunately, just because one is wearing, one is born in a particular family, calling themselves by a particular name, all that. Even when they're saying that everybody is equally eligible, everyone is equal, they're thinking, oh, if everybody is equal, okay, make me priest. It's not. You need to support, you need to have the practices. We'll be, I mean, actually after going through those practices, we understand this is not easy. Like if you ask them, okay, I'll give you a job of a Brahmana. I mean, let us say Brahmana is a job. Okay. Not a class. Okay. It's a job. You need to have these 25 characteristics and then you need to show evidences. Nobody will qualify. Who is saying that, oh, you are saying this, you are saying that. I mean, it's difficult. It's not easy,
Yeah.
right? So unfortunately, just because like a religious head is being given respect by other people, and a serviceman is not given the same respect, people think, oh, why can't I become like that? Right? But everybody should understand the reason, the logic behind all these classes, the supporting practices. And when we have those practices, yes, well and good. I mean, nobody's stopping, right?
Yeah.
But unfortunately, when we are born in a particular way, our opportunity to show these practices will become lower and lower. Like if somebody is born poor, it is shown that they are going to remain poor most of their life, right? Like the proper percentage of people who are born poor will remain poor. Percentage of people who are born rich will continue to remain rich. It's people have got Nobel Prizes. Poor people are in a spiral of being poor. Poor people. Recently, MIT professors got it, and it's so simple. So people so somebody who is born in that environment will never be able to, possess this kind of thing. Unfortunately, I mean, even though they want to, poor doesn't want to become poor forever, be poor forever, but they are in a spiral. Same way, some people are in a spiral, so they should not start hating somebody who has these other characteristics, other practices. Sorry, we took more time as usual. We'll continue next week.
Sure.
Sure.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. We'll conclude with a concluding prayer. Ayena vacha mansin
Ayena vacha
Yatana va
Sakalam Naranayati Samarpayami Srimanarayanayati Samarpayami
Sarvam Sri
Sri Krishnarpanastu
Om Asmat Gurubhyo
Gurubhyo Namaha
Jai Srimanarayan.
Jai Srimanarayan. Jai Srimanarayan.